This coming Sunday is the 32nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. We continue to read from Mark's Gospel. We hear of the widow who is so very generous with the little she has. Let's take a listen. It's Mark chapter 12, verses 38 to 44. In the course of his teaching, Jesus said to the crowds, "Beware of the scribes who like to go around in long robes and accept greetings in the marketplaces, seats of honor in synagogues, and places of honor at banquets. They devour the houses of widows. As a pretext, recite lengthy prayers. They will receive a very severe condemnation." Jesus sat down opposite the treasury and observed how the crowd put money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow also came and put in 2 small coins worth a few cents. Calling his disciples to himself, he said to them, "Amen, I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all the other contributors to the treasury. For they have all contributed from their surplus wealth, but she, from her poverty, has contributed all she had, her whole livelihood." In the Gospels, we read of the accounts of Jesus and his interaction with his disciples. Jesus presents himself as a masterful teacher. In this respect, he uses the ordinary events that he and his disciples see occurring around them. He uses them to teach them a lesson. People came to make their offerings to the temple every day. On one particular day, Jesus notices a poor widow who comes to drop in a few coins. He tells the disciples, "Amen, I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all the other contributors to the treasury, for they have all contributed from their surplus wealth, but she from her poverty has contributed all she had, her whole livelihood." Jesus is teaching them a lesson about generosity. He is teaching them that generosity is not about a dollar amount, it is about sacrifice. It is about giving not from one's surplus, but from that which is needed for their own life. Her example, then, is a very powerful one. She has limited means, being a widow. She herself may have relied on the charity of others to acquire some basic necessities. She probably knew herself what it meant to be poor, and so she has a heartfelt compassion for the poor. She is doing what she can. We can only imagine how the disciples reacted. We aren't told in the passage. Maybe they are saying to themselves something like, "Why didn't we notice the poor widow? Why didn't we recognize this lesson of self-sacrifice?" We might do the same as these disciples, realize the power of her example, and let it be a guide for us. Let her teach us what it means to sacrifice. I think of the many examples we read about and see reported of those who have experienced maybe a terrible storm, hurricane, natural disaster, wildfire, a flood, whatever it is that takes away the possessions of so many people. And then we see those same individuals who now have so little be willing to share with their neighbors, whether it be a small amount of food they have, or drinking water, clothing, or shelter. Through their own suffering, they have a greater compassion on those who suffer. We are all called to be generous, to be selfless, to have compassion on those in need, on those who suffer, on those who struggle in so many ways. Let the widow of the gospel show us the way. Let us learn from her. Let the gospel fill your week. See you in church. For now, God bless.